You're watching the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. Now here's your hosts, Tom, Nick, and Dave. It's you, it's me, it's N.R.D. It's you, it's me, it's N.R.D. Uh-huh. Let's start the show.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. It is you, it is me, it is TND. Welcome to episode 190 of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a big announcement here on episode 190 of the Wrestling Nerd Broadcast. That is, the NFL season opens this week, everyone. Yes. Get ready, boys and girls. Tom Sasso's least favorite time of the year is upon us. Week 1, the Buccaneers take on the Commanders in Tampa. Get hyped, everyone.
No.
I just had to do that, Tom. I'm sorry.
But no, that's fine.
I had that opening ready just because I didn't think that Nick would be joining us because, you know, Nick's got newfound responsibilities because Nick did something this weekend that didn't involve wrestling. Tell us, my friend, what happened?
Is it beat the Buccaneers? Is this going to come out after the
This comes out before week 1.
I almost said the wrong word there. The Commanders. After the Commanders beat the
Washington football
Buccaneers.
Team?
The Washington football squad. But yes.
I don't like wrestling. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah.
Well, we got something to talk about before we talk about wrestling. Here's your wrestling.
I don't even like wrestling.
What happened, Nick?
What
happened
Nick?
this weekend?
What happened? Well, I had a little bit of stuff happen, you know. I mean, I cleaned some pools, you know. Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about the pay. Are we talking? Oh, I know what we're talking. Are we talking about the addition? The addition? We're not talking about Shane McMahon right now, are we?
No.
I mean, Shane McMahon could be an addition to AEW before we know it.
No, but no, I did have some exciting news. My son was born.
Yay!
On Monday. Yeah.
Number 2.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I mean, honestly.
If there's ever been a reason to raise an ice cold, refreshing Samuel Adams summer ale, I don't know what is. Sam Adams for all the occasions.
I feel like at one moment Nick was just messaging us like normal, and then he's like, "I think we're gonna have a baby," and then like no time at all passed, and he's like, "We had a baby."
Yeah.
Like he's here.
Yeah, so we were waiting. So she called that she was like having contractions all day long and stuff. So we called the doctor. Of course, it was on the weekend, so like we got like the on-call doctor. It wasn't even her normal doctor, or whatever. And they were like talking to me, like, okay, well, start timing them. And when they hit 5 minutes between each one, and that goes on for an hour, and then come to the hospital. So that's what we were doing.
Why is this like the match at 55 minutes gone by, 5 minutes remaining in the match?
So about 1 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, shit got real. We got about 5 minutes. So I was like, all right, we're going to the hospital. Okay, I mean, we got Owen with us, everything. So we load him up, we load the car up. I start going to the hospital, and I'm still timing them, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God. That one was 3 minutes from the last one. So I'm driving a little faster. And then I'm like, oh my God, that one was 2 minutes is the last one. So I'm like, at this point, I'm running red lights. I'm
just imagining Nick counting like a referee. 1.
Yeah, the whole time.
2. Gotta reset.
Linda's screaming in this chair next to me the whole entire time. Like it's like the prototypical movie scene that you've seen. So we fly up to the emergency room exit or entrance. And I get her in there and stuff. And she got back into the room. I went to park the car with Owen, and I get in there, and like me and Owen get into the room, and like shit is going down at this point. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta get Owen can't be in here like watching all this. Like this is insane. He's freaking out because of this monster. And we got to get out. So I get him out into the lobby and stuff. And that's when I started texting the group, and I was like, well, you know, I think this is happening like right now.
I like that you had time to message us.
So I told Owen, I was like, let's go find a soda machine. So him and me go off, and we're like walking around like probably like 20 minutes. This is like, we've been in the hospital for like 20 minutes and stuff. And then the nurse comes down. She's like, oh, it's fine. Everything's calmed down in the back. You can come on the back. So I thought maybe they had like got her epidural or something, or they just calmed her down and stuff. And I go in there, and there's a baby. The baby's here at this
There's a bed. I go in and there's
wow,
a
okay. So yeah, and the doctor told us that they were surprised that we didn't have a car baby. That's literally what he said. He said, I think the situation it was like, I mean, it was insane. I mean, it was.
Were you prepared to do that?
No, not at all. It was not
No.
like the birth plan in any way, shape, or form.
No, but like, what would have happened? If,
I don't know.
I just imagine like waking up in like 2 a.m. and like to a notification, Nick Carpenter is going live. I'm like, what? We get like, because Nick randomly will like video call our chat like out of nowhere by accident.
Yeah.
And just
And
like the one time we
it's
actually pick up, guys, it's happening.
Because you called us this weekend, so I'm like, oh shit, are we meeting a baby? And I missed the call. I'm like, oh,
I'm sure it was Owen. Owen has a fascination with calling things.
Owen is
I actually put
in the chat.
Before I even told anybody, like my parents, anybody, I threw the picture that I took in the hospital room up on the group chat. And it was like in the middle of the night. And JP was like, oh wow, congrats to JP was literally the first person that wasn't me or Linda to see my son in the whole entire.
JP is a real one. JP is
you go to
he's real.
That's crazy, man.
So does that mean he got to be the godfather?
Maybe. I don't know how that
No. That's my role. I went to seminary. I am closer to God than all of you.
But it was just nuts. It was completely polar opposite with Owen. She got induced and we sat in the hospital for like 72 hours waiting for him to come.
I feel like you would you were like texting Ryan and I like, well, like, yeah, we're here.
Yep.
Waiting this thing out.
We're recording from the hospital tonight. What are we doing?
Yeah. So, but this was, I mean, it was, but
what do you mean you can't make it, bro? We're only on episode 12. What the fuck?
Everybody's good. We're all home now. I mean, it's just cool.
Fantastic. Another micro brawler has been made.
8-pound baby. She had to do it naturally. No time for no medicine or anything.
God bless her.
God bless Linda.
God bless her.
I want to be very clear about this. I think Linda is the hidden MVP of the show.
She is.
I remember how often when Owen came, you would have Owen and you just come in and grab him and like make it work.
Yep.
We're
gonna have baby feeding cameos at some point.
Owen threw up on you on this show, which was fantastic. Yeah. Go back and find that episode.
Met Owen, right? And he threw up on you.
Oh man.
It's amazing.
So from a baby coming all out, we go back to all in, which was the second highlight of the week. What a transition. You'll never find one smoother. You're welcome, everyone. So all in was a pay-per-view that happened this weekend, and I have some very, very strong opinions. And I texted Tom. I was like, do I hate AEW? I might. I don't know. Because I'll say this. From pure storytelling, I think it was a flawless show.
Yeah.
It is just the way they went about telling the story that was absolute garbage. Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, they need to stop saying that a big announcement is coming because a talent acquisition is a big announcement. All our Forbidden Door going to London. Grand Slam Dynamite, keep in mind, is going to Australia. That is not a big announcement because that doesn't affect any of us. Okay? London Grand Slam going to Australia. Yes, it's cool because you're following up on the 4 Grand Slams of tennis. It doesn't affect me. It's not a big announcement, because you're going to air that on tape delay, so it's fine. Yeah, it's cool that you're going, but it's not a big announcement. So don't hype that shit up as a big announcement, okay? And they hyped up Forbidden Door coming to London like it was a big announcement. That was leaked when they were in Cardiff because there was a sign up like, see you in London 2025 AEW for Forbidden Door. So guess what? Your big announcement was fucking leaked. They announced that.
I don't think that either of those are this big announcement they're talking about.
If it ain't Shane McMahon, it's not a big announcement as far as I'm concerned.
That would actually, and as much as we joke about it, that would be a big announcement.
I think the big announcement is a streaming service, or they're switching to like Max.
Yep, 100%.
That's what I think the big announcement is, because they're talking about how it's going to change AEW, change everything, change this, and like it's like Tony Khan was like saying, like it's the biggest announcement that's going to change the face of AEW forever.
Yeah,
like it's got to be something like
Is this
that.
going to be just the library, or is it going to be like the WWE now? Are we going to get premium live? I mean, like, are they going to get them go away from the pay-per-view model and do like premium live events?
If they get rid of the pay-per-view model, I can watch every pay-per-view. They said, here's my shit. They said 4 pay-per-views a year.
Yep.
I can spend $200 a year on pay-per-views.
Yep.
They're up to 9 pay-per-views or so a year. That's $450. And some of those pay-per-views are very close to each other.
What if they did like the 4 main pay-per-views still on pay-per-view, and then like all the Forbidden Doors and all that on the HBO Max?
I'd be mad.
Me too.
I'll say, well, no. Here's the thing: if it's $10 a month, and you give me 12 pay-per-views a year, and 8 of them are included in that $10 a month, I'll even give you a 15 because I know Netflix is getting expensive and whatnot. I would say that's fair because you're getting 8 pay-per-views for $80.
Plus the library, plus you probably get Ring of Honor.
Exactly, plus the library, plus Ring of Honor. You know, keep it all
worth it.
I think
if you're a wrestling fan, that's worth it for
100%. Again, just on the savings alone of the pay-per-view, it's worth it. You know, your ratings for Ring of Honor would definitely go up because it's more accessible and all that good stuff. So,
yeah, I'm not signing up for them.
Well, let us know what your price tag would be in the comment section below.
I next All In, because I have a lot of opinions on All In.
Okay, my biggest gripe of All In, and I fucking lost my shit, and it honestly kind of burned me out for the rest of the pay-per-view because I didn't stop bitching about it the rest of the way. And I caught a lot of shit about this on Facebook because of the complaint I made. I posted to AEW. Okay, so the pre-show, if you were watching, or 0 hours, they call it, Jamie Hayter made her return. So Ray came out and complained like, "Oh, why am I not on the show, love? This is my house. I should be on here. Look at my family. The Knight family were royal. We should be on this show." And then Jamie Hayter came and ran her off. Okay, so you're building a match for All Out. Cool, got it. Jamie Hayter is arguably top 3 popular female talents in AEW between her, Britt, and Toni Storm.
Was she the champion before she got hurt?
She was the champion. Then Toni Storm got hurt and lost the title going into, or she lost it to, was Hikaru Shida the champion going into All In last year? I can't remember. But Toni Storm beat Jamie Hayter for the title, and Jamie Hayter got hurt in that match, kept her out 15 months. But yeah, this is a big return. This is one of your top 3 women in this division, and you fucking had a return on the pre-show. And I had some people say, "Oh, well, you got to build up interest. That's going to get people into buy the main card." This isn't like, and somebody was like, "Well, at least they have wrestling on this pre-show, unlike all the announcements in WWE." Clearly, you know. And I'm like, well, here's the thing: when they had Sunday Night Heat as the pre-show for WWF pay-per-views back in the '90s, that build towards the pay-per-view. You had interviews from guys that were fighting on the main card that gave you a reason to buy. Jamie Hayter appearing in that segment made me know that Mercedes Moné was going to retain, because guess what? Britt Baker was going to beat her without her help. Right there. And I knew they're not going to have her run back. I was like, oh, she could run back up. No, they're not. They've already ruined the surprise. It's done.
And that match was terrible.
That match, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I got a lot of shit to say. I feel like Jim Cornette. And
I'm going to say that. I want to say this, though, too. I think overall, I'm okay that I spent $50 on this pay-per-view. I enjoyed the vast majority of what was going on.
Yep.
But there were a lot of moments where I'm like, huh.
Again, my criticism of this pay-per-view was from a production and a timing standpoint on things. Yeah. Again, Jamie Hayter appearing on the top. They apparently had to cut time off of Jack Perry and Darby Allin's match because of overflow. Does Fozzy need to have a fucking concert? I love Fozzy, and that's me saying that. They didn't need to do that. No. We're going to cut time off of Hook and Chris Jericho. We're going to cut time off the 6-man tag match, or the triple threat tag match Okay, like that Jamie Hayter segment was 5 minutes and would have been a perfect buffer thing of just like. But again, this is my whole problem with AEW pay-per-views: just match, 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 match. 3 count, start the next match. 3 count, start the next match. So, I move on to the Casino Gauntlet match where I had some feelings. Cool that Ricochet debuted. Dumbass ending with bringing out Luchasaurus only to help Kyle O'Reilly or chokeslam Kyle O'Reilly so Christian could win. And then whoever is in charge, I wrote this, whoever is in charge of cameras should be fired. Didn't show the entryway for new entrants right away. How am I supposed to know who's coming if I've never heard their music before? Nigel McGuinness and Ricochet. It was like AJ Styles' debut in WWE during the Royal Rumble. They missed so many moves the outside. Like there's a somebody was coming in, and then I think it was Orange Cassidy did a tope to the outside to Okada, and you just saw none of it. I'm like, what the fuck? And it made me so mad as a TV production student. I was like, fucking hell.
I hear you. I love that match.
No, the match itself is fine. It's just the camera editing and the production of it is terrible. And there was a part in the trio's ladder match where there's shit going on the outside, and they just showed the ring that had nobody in it, and I'm like, what is this?
So nice.
We're just putting nothing on the screen right now. Like, what the actual fuck?
You know, Kevin Dunn is a free agent. So
I think Kevin Dunn was running the truck for All In. And so just another production aside, they kept like cutting to sections in the crowd, and I'm like, oh, is somebody sitting there? Is somebody coming out through this section? Is there something? No, they were just doing random shitty camera crane shots. And there's a lot of people saying, criticizing. They still haven't even officially announced a number for Wembley. I think it's in the 50,000 range. And then they're like, oh, well, don't forget Elimination Chamber only had all those tarps when they were in Australia. I'll say this. Elimination Chamber was a B-level pay-per-view that the WWE Championship the WWE Champion wasn't even on it. Okay? That's a B show and only had about 2,000 less than AEW's biggest show of the year. So let's not compare apples and oranges here.
I also don't care about those numbers.
Neither do I, but it's one of those things where if you're gonna go for a big arena like Wembley, you need to sell it or put it in a smaller arena. That's why that Cardiff building was cool. It had like 5,000 people, but those were 5,000 ready to go people in Dynamite.
But that's like the thing. Like we just recently went and seen Monster Jam in the Tampa arena. They had sections tarped off on there too. I mean, it's like everything. I
think. Well, here's the thing about that. I think they had to tarp that off because of safety.
Oh
because
yeah,
if a truck goes like right to the front row,
they had ones on like the top. So of course they got to take some of them off the
bottom. At every single wrestling event I've ever been to, regardless of company, when it's like a big one, WWE or AEW, there is always sections that are empty. It doesn't matter. And when you're gonna, like what you were saying, if you're gonna book Wembley, book Wembley.
Yep.
If you're not, I don't know, isn't the O2 Arena smaller? Like, do it there.
It's like a 15,000 thing.
I would much rather a smaller venue sold out.
Yep.
Especially in England, because it's gonna be so loud the whole time.
Yeah.
So 15,000 people indoors in a smaller arena sounds like 100,000 people.
Yep. And that's another problem. Like, they need to do a better job of miking the audience or whatnot, because like obviously we're recording this on Wednesday the 28th, and Jon Moxley came out at the beginning of Dynamite, and like, yeah, it's a weird song, but they keep it on the Titantron so you know whose name it is. Because they were just panning around playing that music, and you just think something was wrong with sound, but you can't hear the crowd go, oh, you can't hear them pop as well. I don't know what it is with their production values, but Jesus, figure it out. But in addition to the tarps, there were a lot of like patchy sections in the upper deck, and I'm like, damn. I want it to succeed. I want it to be packed elbow to elbow.
I would not pay I would not pay more than $50 for parking and an upper deck ticket there. You can't see anything.
Yeah, no, it's too far away. Well, that's why when I've
big.
gone to WrestleMania at MetLife Stadium, I sat about like 50-yard line up top. So this way I could be on the ring and see. If you're in an end zone, you're fucked. You're not seeing shit. I'm not paying all that money and the parking to go.
But it's like people are like, times are tough, man. Like I said, we just went to the monster truck thing. I mean, it was like $22 hamburgers. You know
Oh yeah, stadium food's a rip off.
There's like mad concerts that I want to go to coming out in Grand Rapids, and all the surcharges for tickets are like $15.
And you know,
and then so like I don't know if you guys remember the band Dashboard Confessional, emo band from the early 2000s.
Yep.
They're coming through, and tickets are like $50.
Yikes!
That's it. To me, that's like I'm not paying $50 to see one band where like Dashboard. I could sit down for a concert, but this is a standing venue. I'm not paying $50 to stand.
Yep.
And you know, I used to have a problem. I have a problem like Ticketmaster and stuff. So like once again, we'll go back to the monster trucks. That's the most recent thing I did. I was like, I'm not buying from Ticketmaster and paying all these fees. We're gonna go to the box office at the stadium. We're gonna buy them directly from the stadium.
They still charge you.
They're $25 a ticket. So I was like, oh, $75. All three of us can get in. Bam, we're good to go. It was like $115 something after everything.
Gotta get the stadium surcharging, baby.
I want Ticketmaster.
It's crazy.
Get it together, people.
So I will also say not selling out these shows. I get it. It's times are tough for people right now.
Well, I'll also say this, and this is an issue I had with WWE a few years back, and the memories came up my Facebook feed. They need to stop doing the same event at the same venue year in and year out and year in and year out. I went to the first two AEW Grand Slams. They were a lot of fun. But getting down to Queens, if you don't live in New York, you won't get it. But like just getting down to Queens from Westchester, whatnot, or Brooklyn, where JP is, it's a pain in the ass. Because where I am, I have to take an hour and a half train ride into the city. Then I have to take a 45-minute subway ride into Queens. That's hoping I catch everything perfectly. So it's so annoying. Driving down there's a pain in the ass. Because parking sucks down there. It's a nightmare. And then they're doing All Out at the now arena, the Sears Center, whatever it used to be called, for All Out again. I understand if they want it. Like I know WWE typically does like Raw or SmackDown, whatever, like the first show after Christmas is in like Hartford, because like the McMahons are there. That's where they're going to do it. Cool. So if they want to do Dynamite before Thanksgiving in Champaign, Illinois, like they typically do, I've got no problem with that. But again, WWE did this with SummerSlam. They hosted it at the Staples Center like 4 years in a row. Then they went to Barclays Center in Brooklyn for 4 years, or I think it was 4 years in a row. But they did NXT and SummerSlam, and I eventually just went to the NXT show because like that changed enough that it was different. But like, give me something different. I need, you gotta change that up.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's some burnout from people who went to Wembley last year and was like, well, I'm good. I did it. I'm cool. Like, I'm shocked they don't try and go to Japan or something. But
that would be cool.
It would be. But I think they're holding off for Wrestle Dynasty or whatever the thing in Japan is. So yeah, that's my most of my rant on All In, but I do have a couple more things. MJF versus Ospreay. I hated it with the Young Bucks last year. The fucking streamers. Fuck. Do not do streamers outside, people. It will ruin the aesthetic of the canopy. Fuck. Like, holy shit, figure out how to pull that stuff down. It was just all over the match the entire time.
They should have just shot confetti down.
Yeah. Like, Okada was fine because they can brush that off to the side and that's not as bad. That shit's just hanging there the entire time. I'm like, fuck this. It was so annoying. It looked like a terrible PWG match. Fuck. Although the match was good.
I love streamers, but not like that.
Yeah, it was terrible. Speaking of things I love, but that sucked, the women's match of Mercedes versus Britt Baker. Fucking Christ. Like, you forget how shitty of a fucking wrestler and promo Mercedes Moné is. Sayonara. What?
She should never have a microphone.
Oh my God, she's fucking horrible. And I was so excited because I saw that like carriage on the side of the stage the entire time. First of all, if it's not part of the set, fucking get it off the stage. They had that carriage just sitting there the entire time. And I literally was like, oh, this is going to be how they bring in the casket or whatnot, kind of cool. Nope, it was so fucking Mercedes Moné could ride in with her fucking corgis. Fuck her.
Which made no sense for her to walk to the carriage with these dogs.
Walk over here and come back over here.
100 feet. It was dumb. It was. I was also like, so.
Oh,
I
here come
like
the cops to arrest that match for being terrible.
Sorry.
He's Dave.
I guess I live in a bad neighborhood. I don't know.
Tom Street.
It's too
I
much
like Britt
pasta.
I like Britt Baker a lot.
Yep.
I think she's a phenomenal wrestler. I think she did what she could with Mercedes.
Yep.
And it just didn't work.
Yep.
I didn't like her gear, and I'm always like, if you're on our Patreon chat, like I'm always like, oh my god, that gear's so sick. Like I love this.
Brit's gear?
For anyone. Brit's gear, because she had a saggy bottom.
Yep. Yeah. It's not good.
And like, I don't know. I'm having a hard time telling the difference between the bank statement or whatever she calls it now.
Yep.
The Britt Baker's submission.
Yep.
And Daniel Bryanson's submission. Brian Danielson. Also,
The Dragon.
KR called him Daniel Bryanson at All In. That's my head. Brian Danielson's submission. So like it's to me
Crossface.
the cattle mutilator or whatever.
Yes, cattle mutilation.
It's all the same thing.
Yep.
And I hate that.
I mean, it's really the guy that we're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to say his name in wrestling, but it's really his move. Really
Shout out Randy Orton.
His whole family.
Yes, the one that murdered his whole family. Yes,
Shout out Randy Orton for winning the world title 20 years ago. Just saying.
So I fell asleep during the Britt Baker Mercedes match.
I started doing dishes, I think.
That's tough.
Can we just say that maybe WWE knows what it's doing, and when they don't give somebody the money that they want, that maybe there's a reason why they're not.
It's like sports when like, oh, I want to be the highest paid receiver, and then that guy goes and sucks on another team. You're like, woo, dodge that bullet.
No, when WWE does pay-per-views well, it is almost untouchable. When AEW does pay-per-views well, it's a surprise because they've yet to deliver a start-to-finish great pay-per-view.
Yep.
Period. Even you go back to the original All In before it was AEW, they had to rush the finish.
Yep.
And it's time management, and I think that's their problem. Take a match out. Take Fozzy out. You can trim the fat and still have a great pay-per-view where people are getting their money's worth.
Yeah. Because
they're getting quality full matches. I had no interest in the Bucks, FTR, and the Acclaimed. I loved that match. I thought it was phenomenal. I had interest in Tony Storm, Mariah May. I thought it was an okay match. It made sense. Like they made the right decisions.
Yep.
Other than Christian Cage getting the contract. Everything else made perfect sense to me and was very predictable, but sometimes you need predictable, right? Like we talked about this in a prediction contest. Sometimes, and I don't think All In's necessarily the pay-per-view to do that at, because like you want it to be the culmination of stories, you know? Yep. I think whatever their January pay-per-view is, that needs like that's starting the stories. And then you can have a couple predictable moments, but the All In pay-per-view should not be quite as predictable. And then having All Out 2 weeks later.
But isn't there another one like next week?
Yeah,
September 7th.
That's the problem.
This Sunday or this Saturday
on happened, and there's no story going into that. It's just like, oh, well, we're gonna have this match because this happened.
I think it's confused. I think the All In, All Out concept is confusing. Like we get it, I guess, and we're like hardcore, like for like a casual person that's watching wrestling or something. I feel like the All In, All Out thing would be confusing.
Well, at least they improved it because remember last year, All Out and All In were back-to-back weekends. There was 1 week of shit between it, and it was fucking horrible.
Yeah,
you could probably drop like one of the concepts and turn it into something else.
I didn't get All Out last year, and I don't think I'll get it again this year.
Another critique that I have: they started doing the entrances for the trios 4-team ladder match on the pre-show, and I'm like, and then like as soon as the main show hits, because I'm watching the pre-show or 0 Hour on YouTube, and then I go to the pre-show on BR Live. They're like, all right, we're here and All In for the ladder match, and here we go. I'm like, no hype package, like this is the biggest night in wrestling. Like nothing. It's just Tony's like, Start the show, go. Like, holy, take a
Just put
breath.
some pyro or something.
That's my
I also
biggest
don't
thing.
understand
And
why
I will-
Pac is now with the Blackpool Combat Club.
Well, I got note on that.
Death Triangle was supposed to win, but Lucha Bros are definitely going to WWE.
Going to the
We get
E,
it.
baby.
Which, you know, like I'm bummed about, but also
I like
under
it. They're not
Triple
really
H, I'm
doing
excited
anything
to
with
see what
Lucha
they
Bros.
can do.
I think it's going to be exciting. I think they should go straight main roster.
Yep.
And I think they're going to team up with like either LWO, which would be dumb and predictable, but them with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest could be fun to take on the Judgment Day.
Don't hate that.
Or maybe they join the Bloodline.
They joined who?
Isn't there like a list? Like I'm pretty sure. I think it was JP in the chat put up a list of all the people that were like, supposedly getting ready to leave. But there was the whole list. I didn't think anybody like Ricky Starks is gone already. I think and stuff, but that's fine. They weren't doing nothing.
Ricky, you know, he could have been great.
Yep. He's just friends with CM Punk. Speaking of something that could have been great, Jack Perry versus Darby Allin fell flat because it was just a one-side snuff film of Jack Perry beating the shit out of Darby Allin for 7 minutes and then had to get time cut.
I didn't like that.
Neither did I. It was just like the fuck. And then Sting came back. Why? Was Darby even on TV today? On Dynamite tonight? No. So, and then in the main event, I'll say this: the main event felt like a main event. I felt emotions during it. I was like, oh man, this is how Brian's going out. Oh no! And then he hyped up. They had the "I'm sorry, I love you" moment. It felt like. And then he went straight on.
That was a good match.
It was a very good match. It was worthy of being the biggest show of the year's main event.
One gripe on it.
Oh,
he got hit on the outside of the ropes on the apron. He got thrown down or whatever and landed on his back.
Yep.
He came up from under the ring and he was bleeding from his face.
Hit him that hard. That's a major impact, man. He's definitely got a concussion.
That pissed me off. Because that was a lot of blood. And I'm like, he could have just punched him in the face.
I'm surprised Brian didn't like last match and just fucking cuts himself right in the fucking
coast to coast, baby.
Go.
That was wild.
But
it was a good interview. I enjoyed it. I think that and I feel like they have this conversation after every AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I think that they just really need to trim the fat and get their shit together.
Yep.
Like Margaret had said she read that Brian, what is his fucking name? Brian Danielson.
Brian Danielson.
That he wanted to wrestle Christian Cage, so that's why he won the thing. You had, I said, I hate that I'm saying this right now in our Patreon chat. You had an opportunity for Zack Sabre Jr. to not only win the G1 and get an IWGP title, but also win that casino match and get an AEW title match. I fucking hate Zack Sabre Jr.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been great booking. You have Nigel McGuinness, who hates Brian Danielson, could have won. Should you have had Ricochet immediately win? I don't know, but it could have been fun. You have Hangman, who's just out of his fucking mind at this point, could have won. But instead, you could have had Shane debut. But instead of like there were so many good options for people to win that match. And for them to go with Christian Cage was just wrong. Okay, thanks for listening.
I'm listening. Of course I'm listening. No, I hate Christian. Oh, Tom's wearing short shorts. I don't know if Tom's coming back. Are you coming back or are you just getting a drink?
I'm done. I hate you.
Okay. But yeah, I think it was a good show. I got my money's worth. But like I said, it's just production values. Fucking shit. It's fucking shit. Okay.
And that's why we hate AEW. So in conclusion, fuck AEW. We hate you.
And again, this is one of those, growing pains of AEW because it's still only a 5-year-old company.
That's what I was thinking too.
But at the same time, it's like AEW took on a bunch of like guys, and like if you have this kind of money and this kind of backing, you shouldn't have these kind of issues. You should be able to know after all this time how to properly mic a crowd. So when somebody comes through, you get a big pop. You should know how to properly film a TV show so you see who's coming out. Because, and this, it's like the Royal Rumble, same issue I had there, especially in the women's Royal Rumble in WWE. How many times is a theme hit and you're like, who the fuck is that? Oh, it's Ivy Nile. Didn't know what the fuck her theme was. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's Elektra Lopez. Didn't know what the fuck her theme was. So, with guys like Ricochet, with guys like Nigel McGuinness, we don't know who it is because unless they're bringing their theme from WWE, which they're not, you gotta figure it out. So
I'm just looking at their roster, the AEW roster right now.
Okay.
They can cut half of. I don't ever want anyone to be out of a job. I'm going to be very clear, and I'm a big proponent of when WWE just cuts people, it's shitty.
Yeah.
But like, they can thin out this roster, like,
oh yeah,
dramatically, and no one will know.
Well, I'll say this: you've got how many shows they have? They've got Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision, and then Ring of Honor. Like, does that even include the Ring of Honor roster? Jesus fucking
I don't
Christ.
think so.
Holy shit. So yes, let us know your solutions to how to improve AEW other than just, sinking it. Let us know what you thought of All In. Let us know what you thought of Bash Berlin because by the time this airs, that'll have gone on. I'll be at a wedding that day. So but yeah.
I forgot that was happening.
Yeah, it's happening, baby. It's happening. Gunther versus Randy Orton. KO versus Cody.
I got some WWE related.
Oh.
This Shayna Baszler, what's her face trio that they have.
Tony Stark and Sonya Deville, the Fusion Collective.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
What's a collection of fusion?
Like, what the fuck is that? It's like, what are you thinking? Like, I don't get it. I hate wrestling.
It's a collection that's fused together.
So in conclusion, fuck WWE.
I hate wrestling.
Northeast Wrestling for life, bro.
Yo, First Wrestling in Minneapolis is running at the Mall of America, and it's looking like one hell of a match. It's going to be Danhausen and Maki Ito versus Effie and Allie Catch.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I don't know.
Is Harold stepping back into the squared circle?
Against Maki Ito? I can see it.
Here's the
versus
thing.
Maki Ito, yes.
I officially moved to my new place in for July 1st. So like June 30, July 1st. I have yet to go into my basement and unpack anything that's in there because everything I need to live day to day is kind of unpacked. Harold is still in a duffel bag in the basement.
Oh my God.
You're telling me there's no rules right now on the broadcast and anybody can go for the crown at any point. It's anarchy. 24/7 crown rules are in effect.
I would love nothing more than Harold to make a comeback. I personally don't know when that's going to be.
Do you know what box and duffel bag Harold?
Hey, it's my puppet bag. Yeah.
Poor Harold.
Him and Gerald are in the same bag.
That's even worse.
There are some things, and I hope to see Harold again soon. But I don't know how soon that will be.
I have a million questions. Do you hear them talking to each other ever? Like if you go down in the basement, can you hear them in the bag, like brother arguments?
Oh,
it's really weird.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Really weird. I go down there, it's like, hello there. Yes, it's me. And I'm like, what's happening?
Hopefully he feeds us today.
Pizza.
Give me a calzone. You don't want the calzone, you want the French baguette. But yeah, I hope that we get to see Harold and Gerald in the future.
One day they'll come back.
They're missed.
If we hit 2,000 subscribers, Harold and Gerald will make a full-fledged comeback. We hope to see them soon.
Why are we making all these promises? Last week, we hit the watch hour goal. Tom gets tattooed. This week, we hit another subscriber goal. Tom gets his puppets back.
2,500. Well, unmasked Spaceman George.
My God, don't pull the curtain all the way back, brother. So yes, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done so. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/WNRDB to support the broadcast financially. Trust me, we need your money. I'm broke. I'm planning a wedding. Of course, hit us up on all the platforms, social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check
Wait,
out.
are you taking all of our money?
I have none of it. How do you think he got Linda out of the hospital?
I have none of it.
I have none of
Do
it.
we have money? We should talk about this off the air. Do we have money?
It's just going into because I keep seeing emails that are like, "Congratulations, Nicholas, money has been deposited into your account."
No,
I'm
there's
just
a
saying,
PayPal.
Aquacare Pool
PayPal.
Service has this nice new graphic professionally put together,
Yeah.
but I don't see any money in my bank account. Just
Yeah,
saying.
you like my
So check out
graphic,
Aquacare Pool Services on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you check out DJ DaveCTheVoice on Instagram and Facebook. Check out Tom's Got Glasses on Instagram. You should give Tom
Send
a
me
follow
money.
out there. Boom. Give Tom your Venmo right there.
Send
Tom
me money.
Sasso. Good people.
You know,
And like I said, most importantly, subscribe to us right here on the Wrestling NRD Broadcast. So until next time, on the next episode of Broadcast, episode 191, it's coming up real quick. Don't forget to tell your mother you love her every day because, like Kevin Durant said, Mom, you're the real MVP. Good night, everyone. And God bless America.
go Commanders.
Go Bucks.
One time, I shoved so many Rice Krispies up my nose I didn't know that I could breathe that in my mouth. So I had to go to the hospital and they had to tweeze them out. My mom said it was an obscene number of Rice Krispies. I was a child, so I didn't know any better.